Hello and welcome back to the Tin Barn. I'm Pragmatic Lee, and in today's video we're going to do a little bit more tool making. Uh, Fixing to start on a project where I'm going to be making some T-nuts for the box and pan brake. We'll get into that on the next video. But I noticed one of the issues I'm going to run into on that is when I hold it in these T-nuts or T-nut stock in my vise, my mill vise, to drill and tap it, the parallel set that I have, these are 1/8 inch thick parallels, and they're going to be too thick. Those T-nuts are fairly small, and when they're setting up in place, there'll not be enough room to drill and tap in between them, and definitely will need to be setting up on parallels. So I think what I'll do is pause that project for just a moment and make a short set of parallels, not a set, just a single pair, out of this edger blade. My vise is 4 inches, has 4-inch jaws. Of course, this is 6-inch here, but these are going to make, this is going to make two pieces just a little over 3 inches long, which will be perfectly fine just as long as it bridges across the ways on the vise. I think the first thing I'm going to do with this old edger blade though is take it in there to the dirty side of the tin barn on the wire wheel and get some of this grass crud off of it. It's straight off the edger. Then I'll meet you over at the bandsaw and we'll cut this into a couple pieces. We want to make these 1.25 inch height. One more thing I need to point out about this, as I said, my existing parallel set is 1/8 thick, 1.25 inch. This by itself, of course, 1.25 inch is 125 thousandths. This is about 100 thousandths now. But once we get the two pieces cut out, I'm going to put it on the surface grinder and take the rest of this powder coating off of it. Hopefully get it down to around 80 thousandths. If that's still a little bit too wide, these are sacrificial. I don't care if the drill bit hits them when it goes through our T-nut stock. Remember this piece we made in the last video? I've got it set up to just a little over 1.25 inch now to have some grinding room. So let's lay this out. And in addition to sheet metal, that scribes this steel pretty good too. I don't know how hard this is going to be to cut on the bandsaw. I don't think this is tool steel at all. But we'll get a piece over here and a piece over here. So let's go over to the bandsaw and see if we can cut this. If we can't, we'll get the cut-off wheel. All right, let's see what the bandsaw will do. All right, that cut that just fine. I didn't think this was hardened steel. I cleaned up my saw here the other day. And I got to look and find my little push block. So there's one blank. We will cut this to length here in just a second as well. All right, I'm going to step over to the workbench right quick and get me a mark on here to cut these lengthwise and come right back to the saw and make that cut. All right, I'm going to get these set up in the surface grinder now. I'm not at all concerned that they're exactly the same length, but to be a set of parallels, they definitely need to be the same height. So we're going to set this up, grind this edge first, flip it over, grind it, a rough grind over here, then we'll lay them flat. Surface grind some of this powder coating off both sides, get it to the thickness we want, then we'll set it up again one more time on the edge and be sure they're absolutely parallel. All right, before we get started, let's get a fresh dress on our wheel. Okay, now that we got a good dress on the wheel, let's get this set up in the vise. And I'm going to turn what was that factory edge, which I buffed off just a little bit. I'm going to set that down. Use these magnetic transfer blocks with a stop at the end down here. And I believe will hold that good. So we'll get it positioned underneath and try to find the high spot, which I think is going to be right there. All right, I think that's pretty close to having found the high spot. All right, has got one of them ground all the way across, but it hadn't quite reached down to the second one, to the shorter of the two. Now that just touched it then. All right, that's got a good flat surface across the two of them. I'll snap a picture right quick so you can see a little better what I'm talking about. All right, now let's turn them over and do the other side. Other edge. I want to be sure that's held tight and not leaning over any. All right, we've got should have two parallel edges now. And we'll take that down to height after we get them the powder coating off. But right now they are parallel and could be used, but we want to clean off all this old powder coating on both sides and get them good and flat. Now the end, excuse me, the end of both of these pieces is worn down again from being an edger blade. I'm not going to, well, we'll see just how much it takes to get it down to a flat surface on the full length. We'll zigzag them a little bit, put the thinnest end and thinner end. All right, this is going to be right much grinding now, so I may kind of put you on a time lapse, but I think you'll get the idea of what we're trying to accomplish here. I think we'll go ahead and put some coolant on this too, because again, it's going to be right much grinding here. Okay, there's a little bit left this end right here and just a little bit right there, but I think what I'm going to do is flip the pieces over, clean this side up, just get a cleanup side, cleanup passes on that, and then come back to that first side. All right, that's got this side cleaned up really good. I think we're ready now to see if I need to do anything on the other side. And when I see if I need to do anything to the other side, other than just clean it up, I'm going to check the thickness of them now. Remember, what we're trying to accomplish here is a thinner set of parallels. These started out as 100 thousandths, and they're down to 85 now. I'd love to get them, as I said earlier, at least down to 80. I think I'm going to shoot for about 70 thousandths. So that'll be 15 more thousandths to go. Show you the difference. This side right here, I did a finish pass on of only cutting down 1/1000th. This side, if you can see the difference in the finish on it, I was doing 3/1000ths depth at the time, and so it could do a little bit more cleaning up. All right, I'm going to touch this off again, which should be very close right now. Then set the 0 on my dial and come down 12, 15 thousandths, something like that. All right, I'm going to set my 0 on my down feed. 12, 15 thousandths. We'll do about 3 thousandths at a time. All right, I'm going to only step, that was 9 thousandths there. I'll step down 2 more thousandths. All right, I'm going to come down 1 thousandths this time. And now this should be our final pass. Another 1 thousandths. Alright, let me clean up the mag vise now and wipe these down good. I tell you what, let's get a quick measurement here and see. Should have come out around 70 thousandths. 68 thousandths. I'm very well pleased with that. That'll give me a good set of thin parallels. We got one more thing we want to do, and that's set them back up on the edge again and be sure our parallel surfaces are indeed parallel. All right, I've got our parallels back on the edge now. We're gonna just clean this side right here up. Just clean this edge a couple clean passes all the way across. Then we're gonna flip it over and we'll grind it down to the height of 1.25 inches. All right, let's go get our height gauge now. All right, there's our 0. And that's at 1.283. 1.283. All right, so we got 33 thousandths to go once we touch off. Just like we did before, this should touch off within the thousandths here. Then I'll zero out the dial on the down feed. That was 1 thousandths down then. So again, I'm going to zero out my dial, and we'll do 33 thousandths. All right, I believe those pieces are parallel enough now to make some T-nuts. Let's go back to the workbench right quick and do a recap. Okay, instead of going back to the workbench to recap this little project, I come over here to the mill vise. You're looking at a side view of the mill vise now. Here are my regular parallels, the 1/8 inch thick parallels. Let me set a couple of these down in here. This is the size T-nut that we'll be making in the next video. That width on there is 550 thousandths. We put this down on the parallels, which obviously they would need to be on, the piece of material would need to be on the parallel so we can drill and tap it. Here's what we're running into. This is 8mm screw. It's hitting the parallels. So I would not be able to drill it and tap it without damaging the parallels, or more likely damaging the drill bit and tap. So what we needed was, we definitely need parallels in there, but we need something a little thinner. So that's what we made today. If I set these in here, remember these are 125 thousandths thick, and we ground these down to 70 thousandths. So now we go in, we got plenty of room. I think you can actually see the space we've got on each side. That was the purpose of all that surface grinding, and I think these they're parallel, I think they'll work good in this application. You guys take care. Come back next week and we'll be making some T-nuts. Take care, and I'll see you on that video.